Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today. We are setting up a full-on masterclass on the fascinating and surprisingly complex world of global business strategies. Basically, we're going to look at one of the most recognizable consumer products on the planet and dissect exactly how it manages to conquer the entire globe, while somehow still feeling like a hometown favorite no matter where you go. A quick warning though, this might actually make you crave a sweet treat by the end. But seriously, get ready to take some notes, because the way this company balances global scale with local heritage is literally nothing short of brilliant. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this. You're traveling abroad, you walk into a corner store, you look in the freezer, and bam! You see a logo you instantly recognize, but it has a completely unfamiliar name attached to it. What is going on there, right? Well, this is the massive dilemma multinational corporations face. I mean, how do you scale a brand globally without destroying the local heritage and the consumer trust that literally took decades to build? It's this giant puzzle that has tripped up so many massive companies over the years. But today's subject, they cracked the code in a way that is taught in business schools worldwide. So here is our roadmap for today. First up, one logo, many names. Second, the strategy of globalization. Third, global brands, universal experience. Fourth, local flavors and adaptations. Fifth, global execution in action. And finally, the strategic takeaway. We're going to peel this onion layer by layer, starting from the massive corporate umbrella right down to the actual local flavors sitting in your freezer. All right, section one logo, many names, the Heartbrand umbrella. Let's explore the outermost layer of this massive ice cream empire. So travel back with me to 1998. The parent company at the time, Unilever, had spent years acquiring all these incredibly strong, totally national ice cream companies all over the world. But they hit a wall. They faced a really tough choice. Do you erase all these super valuable local identities just to create one unified global name, or do you find another way? Well, instead of destroying decades of local trust, they got creative. They launched the Heartbrand logo. You know the one, that iconic red and white swirling heart? It acts as this unifying roof over roughly 40 different acquired national brands across more than 50 countries. I mean, think about the sheer scale of that. If you're in the UK or Asia, you buy Walls. In Italy or Turkey, you're grabbing an Algida. In Germany, it's Langniji, Brazil has Kibon, and India has Quality Walls. The visual heart travels perfectly across borders, but the name stays fiercely local. So what is the actual underlying business theory driving this framework? That brings us to section 2, the strategy of globalization, balancing scale and heritage. The magic word here is globalization. It's basically a mashup, right? It's an integration strategy that optimizes the perfect balance between standardizing things globally, which saves a ton of money, and tailoring things locally, which is absolutely crucial to keeping consumers happy. It is essentially the ultimate solution to the tension between thinking globally and acting locally in international markets. It's not just a compromise or a trade-off. It is a highly deliberate portfolio of choices. It's the exact reason why the products you buy feel custom-made for your culture, even when they are actually owned by a massive global conglomerate. And this brilliantly illustrates how that balance works in practice. So, on the far left, you have a purely multi-domestic strategy. That's where everything is highly autonomous and customized for every single market, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly expensive. On the far right, you have a pure global strategy. That's a managerial utopia where everything is identical worldwide. Cheap to run for sure, but it often completely fails to resonate with local cultures. But right in the middle, you have the global bridge. It connects the two. It perfectly marries that multi-domestic autonomy and local meaning with true global managerial scale and efficiency. Now that we actually understand the bridge, let's look at the foundation holding the whole thing up. Section 3, Global Brands, Universal Experience. These are the unmovable pillars of the architecture. Look, to make this strategy work, the company has to be ruthlessly disciplined about what stays the same and what changes. What they keep strictly standardized worldwide are the elements that drive massive manufacturing efficiency. We're talking the core product concept, the Heartbrand visual logo itself, and the core architecture of their mega brands. But, and this is key, they adapt what needs to flex to maintain cultural relevance. That means the local umbrella name changes, the specific flavors change, portion sizes adapt based on local wealth and snacking habits, and of course, the cultural marketing is completely tailored. A perfect, real-world example of this unmovable global pillar is the Magnum bar. Magnum serves as the ultimate standardized product globally. It delivers the exact same premium, adult indulgence experience across the board. You know the one. thick, cracking Belgian chocolate right over creamy vanilla ice cream. And you get that exact same experience whether you are buying it under the Algida name in Turkey, Lagny's in Germany, or Walls in the UK. This consistency allows for massive economies of scale in R&D, in buying specialized molds, and in shooting massive global media productions. And standardizing isn't just about the physical shape of the ice cream either. It's also about the invisible infrastructure, like nutrition. Get this. An impressive 95% of their packaged ice cream globally contains no more than 250 calories per serving. That's a global rule. And 100% of their children's ice creams contain 110 calories or less. Setting this as a strict global standard builds universal trust across all their markets, regardless of what local name is actually printed on the wrapper. Let's move to and see how this builds from those unmovable global pillars right into highly flexible, localized flavors. Section 4. Local flavors and adaptations. Tailoring the taste. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these standard platforms adapt so brilliantly to local palates. Take Turkey's local brand, Algida, for example. They haven't just lazily imported Western flavors, no. They've actually engineered custom industrial processes to replicate authentic local experiences. You see Algida incorporating traditional Mara-style ice cream, which uses orchid root extract to get this incredibly dense, stretchable texture, right alongside hyper-specific, culturally authentic flavors like baklava and kadayef. They literally speak the local culinary language flawlessly. And this localized approach, it's applied absolutely everywhere they operate. Let's do a quick world tour. In India, under Quality Walls, you're going to find mango, quesar pista, and sitaval. In Brazil, Kibon offers these amazing tropical hits like acai and passion fruit. Italy, of course, leans heavily into its gelato heritage with crema and stracciatella. In the Netherlands, Ola produces the iconic raquette, which is this rocket-shaped water ice everyone loves. And down in Australia, Street sells the legendary Golden Gaytime, a toffee, vanilla, and biscuit classic. These flavor profiles and formats are deeply tied to national culinary heritage and intergenerational memory. They are quite literally local heroes, completely supported by global supply chains. So, how does a company actually execute a new campaign with this strategy in the real world? Section 5. Global execution in action. Let's dive into some case studies. First up, let's look at their Minecraft partnership. This is just a brilliant global execution. The product itself is a global standard, a universally replicable gaming IP concept shaped like Minecraft blocks, hitting those super strict nutritional standards at just 73 calories. But the execution? Hyper-localized. It launched exclusively with specific local retail partners, like Morrisons in the UK and Jumbo in the Netherlands. Furthermore, the marketing didn't just use global ads. It relied on TikTok influencer campaigns that were tailored strictly to local gaming communities in those regions. Global backbone, highly localized expression. Next, consider the Twister brand. This is a 100 million euro global brand. Let that staggering number sink in for just a second. 100 million. The global genius here is that it's hard to imitate spiral architecture serves as a strict global baseline. They don't mess with the spiral, but then they adapt it locally. In Asia, it has a massive presence with mango and tropical fruit variants that fit local tastes perfectly. So they take this 100 million euro global asset and effortlessly tweak it just enough to win the local neighborhood impulse buy. And you know, globalization isn't just about flavor either. It's about hard market realities. Look at the upcoming 2026 strategic shift for Quality Walls in India. It is an absolute masterclass in market-specific adaptation. They're transitioning their portfolio from vegetable fat-based frozen desserts to full dairy. They're implementing massive 30% price cuts in key categories to address affordability, and they are aggressively launching localized kulfi and kesar lines. Basically, they adapted to regulatory norms, consumer purchasing power, and cultural expectations all at the exact same time, without ever losing their connection to the global Heartbrand system. All right, let's bring our narrative to its conclusion here. Section 6, the strategic takeaway. Welcome to the TMIC era. Tracing the historical arc of this whole thing, we see the Heartbrand logo introduced by Unilever in 1998 to unify its acquisitions. It got a nice refresh in 2003. Fast forward, and this global architecture proved so incredibly robust and scalable that in March 2024, Unilever announced a full ice cream spin-off. By December 2025, the demerger was complete, creating the world's largest standalone ice cream company, the Magnum Ice Cream Company, or TMICC. And And the coolest part, even under a totally new corporate structure, the core globalization strategy, the very engine of their success, remains entirely intact. So the crucial point is perfectly summarized right here in this quote. Standardize the source of scale, adapt the source of meaning. That is the entire playbook, right there. You standardize the R&D, the packaging technology, and the global power brand architecture, because that is what creates massive financial scale. But you fiercely protect and adapt the local umbrella names, the regional flavors, and the cultural touchpoints, because that is where the consumer actually finds meaning. That is exactly how a massive multinational brand feels exactly like a beloved local favorite. I want to leave you with this final thought today. Next time you're in the kitchen, open your freezer or check your pantry. Which other global brands sitting right there in your home must learn to hide their massive scale behind a local smile just to survive in your market? Because let me tell you, the Heartbrand playbook is all around us once you actually know how to look for it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.